So hey guys, and welcome back to the third video of this 8 video long series. And in this video, we shall be looking at the Chennai Super Kings. MS Dhoni's Chennai Super Kings. They just ended up short by 1 run in the last season, a heartbreak for CSK fans. Anyway, just looking at how they went about at the auction, they just made 4 acquisitions to their squad. What do you make of them?
I think they didn't have to do too much in the auction, to be honest. They've had a tried and tested formula for a number of years now, and under the leadership of MS Dhoni, a very, very experienced core group of players. They've always been thereabouts in IPL cricket. Very hard again to say that they won't be there again this season, just because of the experience and the know-how that they have. But yeah, I think when you looked at CSK, maybe they needed a little bit more in terms of death bowling, a little bit more maybe Chennai, playing at Chennai in mind. They didn't have to do too much in the auction, I think.
Yeah, now let's look at the players they bought. They got Sam Curran, a utility player, maybe a backup for Dwayne Bravo. Now, since Bravo and Watson, they are at the twilight of their career, they might be looking at Sam Curran for the future as well. Being 21, he also brings down the average age of the squad. Sam Curran.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He can be used as a floater in the batting order. He gives you that left arm angle with the ball. And somewhere or the other, his pace suits Chepauk. So that's about Sam Curran. They also got Piyush Chawla, the most expensive Indian player of the auction. Surprise!
That was very, very surprising. I couldn't believe that when I saw it.
Exactly. So that clearly suggests that they might not want to play Imran Tahir. They might want to play Piyush Chawla and also play Sam Curran in the same 11. That may be their thought process. They got Josh Hazelwood. I feel he's a pretty decent backup for Lungi and Giri. And they also got Sai Kishore, the highest wicket taker in the domestic tournament, the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. So they did pretty fine at the auction, I believe. And their playing 11, do they start with anything different from last season?
I think the opening combination will be an interesting one. Regarding the batting, Shane Watson will be there. Who do you open with him? Do you put Ambati Rayudu up at opener potentially to have maybe Dhoni at 4, Suresh Raina at 3, and you've got the likes of Kedar Yadav and Jadeja down there as well, Bravo. If you want to play Curran there as well for that floating role. I think CSK have a few options. I think they've got to land on an opening combination quickly. How do you fit Rayudu in the team? Do you play Kedar Yadav at all? Will you leave Vijay opener? Few decisions to make there.
Yeah, as you said, CSK, they have quite a few options. They can open with Rayudu and Watson, with Raina, Jadhav, Dhoni, Jadeja, Bravo to follow. Or else what they can also do is, as I mentioned, they can drop Imran Tahir, play Piyush Chawla, and make Sam Curran open at the top of the order with Shane Watson.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I mean, it probably goes against the CSK way over the years, because they're typically a side that likes to sort of build a little bit of a platform early, take their time, make sure they don't lose wickets in the power play. But given they don't have the security of Chepauk this season, where the pitch turns and they can defend any total or restrict the team to any score, maybe they do look at an option like a Sam Curran to open to try get those quick runs and give themselves a little bit more of a buffer. Gives a little bit more breathing room, potentially. Interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, and CSK now, since they won't be playing at their fortress, which was Chepauk, I believe that they might struggle a little bit, especially with the middle order. Now, if you look at their middle order, you have Suresh Raina, Rayudu, Dhoni and Jadhav. That's the core. And if you look at the middle order's performances in the middle overs since 2018, I'll just go about, listing their strike rates. Raina, strike rate of 120. Rayudu, strike rate of 118. Dhoni strikes at 102. Jadhav strikes at 97.37. And this maybe worked at Chepauk, which will not work in UAE. So yeah, that's one aspect where they, might struggle, the middle order. obviously, unless Shane Watson he lasts in the power play, he is a beast in the middle overs. But if not Shane Watson, this team it seems to be in some serious trouble.
Yeah, look, I think they've got to probably up those strike rates in the middle overs and provide that and really focus on that aspect of their game because, as you said, they don't have that sort of the security of their home fortress where
Yep.
you can score 140 or 130 and then roll the opposition out through spin. Won't be the same. UAE will suit spin, no doubt about it, but it won't be as difficult to play as the case in Chepauk. So it'll be interesting to see how CSK sort of adjust their approach. I think Dhoni's the leader to say, yep, he will make sure that his team is up for the cause. I think when you've got him in charge still, a great leader, CSK can never be written off.
Yeah, and CSK, the S instead of super can also stand for spin, Chennai Spin Kings. That's how
Yeah.
that's how they traditionally have approached. But again, since they are not playing at their fortress, there is no concept of home games in UAE, and thus their
No.
original plan it may be disrupted, which leads to added pressure upon their pacers. And even if you look at the pace department, there is not enough depth over there. So that's one again. CSK they primarily plan to play at Chepauk. How do we win 7 games at
Yeah.
Chepauk, and then maybe a couple of games here and there we make it through to the playoffs.
Exactly.
But now, since they're not playing at Chepauk, it's a big deal. It's going to be different for them.
That's a challenge for them, and I think that's where they've got to be a little bit nifty on their feet. They've got to be, strategically aware of, the change in proceedings or the change in the situation, how they're going to adjust to playing in the UAE compared to Chepauk, because that's how they base their auction strategy.
Yep.
Why would they buy Chawla if they didn't believe they're going to be playing in
Exactly.
Chennai? You know what I mean? They're buying him with the clear vision that they're going to roll teams over at home with spin, and then you've got the likes of Sam Curran, Josh Hazelwood, Lillian Geedy, and these guys that can potentially come in as overseas players away from home. Now they've got to think how are we going to win games in the UAE and do things maybe a little bit differently than we would in a normal season.
Yeah, their approach is generally to get to some 140, 150, and then to bowl teams out. But 140 might not actually work in UAE. You might need to. Sorry for that. Yeah, you might need to get to around 170 to defend totals over there. UAE, it definitely will support spin, but it won't be a rank turner as we see in Chepauk.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think if Chennai can get 140, 150 in the UAE, I still give them a good chance with their attack. They've got a lot of experience and a lot of bowling smarts in their attack. So when you look at Deepak Chahar and how good he is in the power play, he can really get CSK on the front foot. The problem is depth bowling, potentially. That's an issue for them. But if they can build some really good pressure in those middle overs with spin, I think they'll win games and be thereabouts in the playoffs discussion.
Yeah, I'm talking about their death bowling. Dwayne Bravo, their primary death bowler, since 2018, his economy rate has been around 11. So that is one issue which they have to counter. Talking about their strengths, we already have mentioned spin bowling department, experience. People call them the daddy army, right? So experience is there.
Yeah.
And power play bowling because of Deepak Chahar. I read this on Twitter. I guess it was from Bharat Ramaraj sir at the rate fan cricket 12 that there is a hint of swing under floodlights in UAE, and that might assist Deepak Chahar's kind of bowling. So that's one strength that I see in their squad, power play bowling.
And also Sam Curran can swing the ball into the right-hander. He can swing the ball. Josh Hazelwood can whip the ball around, particularly if they pick him. He'll be very effective in the power play. I think power play bowling, middle overs bowling, I think even though they're moving away from India, it's sorted.
Yep.
The problem is the depth of bowling, and the problem is their middle overs batting with batting well in the middle overs and making sure that they got that momentum going throughout the inning. So that makes Ambati Ayudu, Kedar Jadhav, MS Dhoni absolutely critical this season if they're going to do well.
And let's just say that, okay, Dhoni does not step up, then this team is gone. who will
It's
finish games.
unthinkable, isn't it? It's unthinkable. Like
Yeah.
we always say, will Dhoni finish well this year? CSK finished, but they always seem to prove people wrong. I wonder if they'll do it again.
They have proved me wrong. I mean, last year I was brutally trolled. I mean,
Oh,
Dhoni is someone who can maybe even lead 10 Stuart Binnies to the playoffs. He's that kind of a
yeah.
man.
Oh,
Exactly.
he's incredible. He's incredible.
Right.
His
So
leadership, he knows how to get the best out of players. He's calm, remarkable.
that is why we cannot completely rule CSK out of the playoffs anytime until Dhoni is
Agreed.
around. But
Agreed. You can't write them off, but they've got challenges that they've got to address. I
exactly.
think if they want to do well, yeah.
As far as cricketing logic prevails, CSK they will struggle a bit, in my opinion.
I think top two, they might struggle to make top two. I think they might fight for third and fourth spot in the playoffs. I don't know, because the key part of their strategy is do well at Chipper, win a few games away from home, and that gets you a top two spot, usually in IPL. Now it's a bit different. Can they win enough games to get top two? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think they'll be definitely fighting for the playoffs.
They definitely will be fighting. I see them somewhere ending at maybe 5 or 6. Maybe just not making it through for the first time in history.
Could be between fourth spot, fifth spot, somewhere around there.
Somewhere
maybe
around there.
Potentially, we'll just have to wait and see.
But we know Dhoni. He is a walking miracle. So don't even be surprised to see them in the top 2.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the top 2. I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah.
Right. So anything else you would like to add about the Chennai Super Kings?
No, I think we've covered it pretty well. I reckon.
Cool.
They'll be again difficult side to beat, but we'll see how they deal with their challenges.
Yep, especially the middle overs batting and the death bowling, which we discussed.
Correct.
So that was our analysis on the Chennai Super Kings and how they look this season, their playoff chances. And in the next video, well, we shall be covering the perennial underperformers, the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Thank you.